Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with another incredible release from Lulu's Customs and Classics. Now, I have promoted a few of his models recently. We are now kind of getting close to the end of his first line of figures, but this time we've got something that is crazy cool. As you can see, we've got two different versions of the Scorpios Rex. Now, you might take a look at these and notice, wow, are they ever different than what you see in Camp Cretaceous? That's because these are actually Jurassic World Evolution skins, and that's basically where you might find these colorations for the Scorpios Rex. Now, he is not going to be doing this type of coloration for a lot of his first few releases. He has considered doing some of these at some point in the future on a few, like a very limited run of these figures. So if you are interested in these colorations, again, they won't be available right away, but there's a chance he may make them at some point. He did apply these paint schemes to mine because he's a buddy of mine, and he had, of course, bent his rules a little bit to give me something a little different, since I have the other version as well, which is in the classic Scorpios Rex colors. But you can see, again, two super cool looking versions of the Scorpios Rex, so let's jump straight to a closer look at both right now. So, as you can see, sculpt-wise, these things are phenomenal, just like the first version of the Scorpios Rex was. We've got a very nice-looking head sculpt, definitely looking exactly as the Scorpios Rex does in Camp Cretaceous as far as the general shape and detailing here of the head. I think he's done a great job of bringing this dinosaur to life in yet a different version. And you may notice that this one has its mouth closed. The original version that we had reviewed had its mouth in an open position. But again, when it comes to the coloration that we have on this one, we've got some really cool grayish tones. You also have some white, and then you've got some black that kind of patterns through the face, as well as white kind of spotting within the blacks. But he's also added kind of like a light tan coloration in here as well. So he's done a great job of adding in quite a bit of variation of color, of course helping to add more realism to the paint job. I think his paint jobs are actually really well done. You can see, again, we've got like some skin detail here for the lower jaw, but it's fairly fine overall. It's not until you really move into the body that you start to pick up kind of larger scaling, and you can see that through the course of the entire head of our Scorpios. You can see the paintwork there for the inside of the mouth, as well as the teeth. The teeth are painted with a yellowish tone, which I always think is definitely something nice to add to figures. You don't usually want to give them a straight up bright white, unless of course you're going for that toy-like look. But when it comes to something that you're trying to give more life to, I always like the idea of giving it like off-whites, or in this case, again, yellowish tones. He's also added a gloss coat to the teeth as well, if my camera would stay focused, which is also a nice touch, of course. And you can see the eye is painted pretty much as it was for the original release of the Scorpios, with a reddish tone, kind of like some yellows in there, it looks like, outlining the black pupil, which is definitely a good thing. And the eye also has a gloss coat to it. We have the quills leading off of the back of the head for our Scorpios Rex. You can see so many very tiny quills, and I'm very impressed in general with the quality of Lulu's work, because the figure obviously has quite a few areas right there that would be very fragile, or you would think that they would be fragile, and shockingly, every single one of these figures made it perfectly through transit. Now that, of course, could be a combination of how nicely he packaged them, but overall, I feel like they are a very durable material. Like, the resin that he's used is very, very durable, which helps to stop breakage in transit, especially for the figures, which is definitely a good thing. As you move back into the neck, you can see some tensing in the neck. You can also see the scale detail and stuff starting to pick up. We continue to have that black patterning through, and of course the mixture of that tan coloration and the grayish. It's kind of like a gray-greenish sort of tone, but you can also see some browns picking up here, showing up here and there, so he's done a great job of adding in a bit of variation of color for the figure. You can even see some of the osteoderms have been painted out with the brownish tone. The scoots along the back look really good on this one as well, again painted with that same type of black we saw up in the face, with some more of the white showing up sporadically. As you move down into the arm here, you can see a little bit more of the brown again up here, highlighting some more of those osteoderms, but you can also see the scale detail looks really good, especially as you lead down here into the arm. You can really see how nice and very reptilian that scale detail looks. You can also see the muscle definition, of course, for the arm, some more quills leading off of the back of the arm, a little bit more of that brown variation of color showing up there in the elbow. And then as you lead down into the hands, you can see some more of the black tone picking up there. And of course, the very nice nails, all also painted again with that black and all sporting that genuine sharp look to them. As you move back up into the stomach region, you can see all sorts of variation to the skin texture, all sorts of very nice fine detail. And again, that really cool patterning moving through. Definitely a fan of the coloration on this. And you can see the muscle definition here for the rear leg. Again, some more of the mixtures of that greenish gray as well as the tans and the browns all added to the figure. You've got the knee here in the front of the leg, the calf muscle. As you move down, again, we transition to a black for the foot. Of course, actually a large portion of the lower part of the leg, but the foot itself, and you have scoots running down the front of the foot down into the toes. And again, the nails sport that nice glossy black. And as we move back up, again, we lead out into the tail. We continue to have the same type of mixtures as far as the coloration goes. We continue to have that striping effect moving down through the course of the body, running off of the back of the scoots there, moving along the back of the dinosaur. And then, of course, we lead out here to the tail with all of the quills and everything out here. Again, he's even, striped the quills out with that blackish tone. So that's really cool. And you also have the light tone here for the underbelly of the Scorpios Rex. And once you turn it around, you can see there's not too much different going on this side compared to the initial side, but you can see this arm is kind of reaching out a little bit, whereas this arm is kind of held into the body a little bit. The head and neck is pretty straightforward. You can see not really much going on when it comes to a turn or anything, making it look like the Scorpios Rex is kind of focusing on something, almost like maybe it's about to come charging in. And once it does, then it's probably going to have the positioning of the other Scorpios Rex we had taken a look at, where it looked like it was attacking. But as you move back, you can also see a different positioning for the leg as well, and you can also see again the toes picking up off of the ground and everything, which looks really good. And again, the sculpt and paint continues to look absolutely fantastic on both sides of this figure. Then we've also got this version, which is the same sculpt as the other one. There are no differences. There are currently two different sculpts from Lulu that are, of course, for the Scorpios Rex, although I can't say for sure, but there might be another one in the works of some kind. But obviously we have the attack version, and now this is, which is kind of like the standard sort of walking version. And you can see again, sculpt wise, this is going to be exactly the same as the previous one we had taken a look at. Paint wise, it's very similar, but a little bit different. First of all, one thing that is definitely a bit different, you can see that we've got some really beautiful browns on this one. We again have a mixture of a lighter tone, kind of like a tan, but more like just a really light brown. And then we've got this darker variation of brown that kind of meshes back and forth with it, and it looks really good on the figure. You also have the same type of black patterning with the white spots and stuff through it, but it is positioned a little differently in certain areas. Like specifically on this one area where it's an obvious difference is the black runs up and through the eye, and the white kind of outlines the eye, which is a little bit different than the other one. I think that is really quite cool. Again, the teeth are painted with that yellowish tone. You've got the inside of the mouth painted there, and you can also see again a really smooth transition to that white tone here of the underside of our Scorpios Rex for like the lower jaw, this area of the upper jaw, and of course the underside moving through. Moving up into the quills, you can see a striping effect moving through. You can also see a white striping effect moving through certain quills, just like with the black. As you continue to move down, we also again have the black moving down through the neck, again leading out, very similar to what we had seen on the other one. And again, I love the way that he's painted some of the brown areas where he's allowed that kind of yellowish brown to sort of creep through the scales and help to highlight how nice his sculpting skills are on this Scorpios. Again, you move down, you've got the variations of the light brown and darker brown. You also again have the black showing up here as you move down into the hands. Again, the nails are painted with a glossy black. You lead back into the leg. Again, the scale detail looks so nice on this figure. And again, you lead down, you've got the lighter tone and darker tones of the browns, highlighting all of the skin texture, but then you also again have the black moving down through the scoots on the front of the leg down into the toes. And again, those nails really shine, literally obviously as well. They definitely have a nice shine to them, but they really stand out is what I was trying to say. And then of course we lead up, and again you lead out, you have that striping effect with the black and the white spotting through as you lead through the course of the tail. And again, the quills are again highlighted with that striping effect, and you also see the coloration lighten up a lot as you lead out here. We have that lighter tone of the brown out there on the tail, and again the lighter tone here for the underside as well as you move along the underside of the Scorpius. And you're going to see pretty much the same thing again over here, just like we saw on the other one. Again, same type of paintwork, but the sculpt again being the same shows off that same look for this side as well. So two super cool versions of the Scorpius Rex, really helping to increase the Scorpius Rex collection that I have, but also giving me two super cool paint variants that I definitely don't have in my collection. Of course, as far as a size goes, the figures are going to be the exact same size, so we really only need to measure one of our Scorpius Rex. For a length, you are looking at from the snout to the tail about 10 inches or around 25.5 centimeters. And I think the tail would actually be the highest point here. You were looking at about 4 3/4 inches or around 12 centimeters to the top of the tail, and about 4 1/4 inches or 11 centimeters to the top of the quills in the back of the neck. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovisaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect A Human Being next to our Scorpius Rex figures from Lulu's Customs and Classics. And you can see that they are very nicely sized, very similar in size to the previously released Scorpius Rex from Lulu. So to show you that, there is the very first version of the Scorpius Rex that we had taken a look at next to these other two versions here. Now you can see, again, size-wise, they are absolutely the same, which means that we don't really need to do a bunch of comparisons this time around, because we have already done quite a few comparisons with the first figure, again, the first release of the Scorpius. But what's cool about this is you can see the difference in sculpt. Again, as I said, when he does release this, which should be going up on his Etsy shop any day, you will see these versions here in the same coloration as that one. So the same coloration of the original Scorpius Rex. Like I said, he may at some point release the other paint variants here as like a special limited edition, something that you could probably get your hands on. But for right now, I believe he's going with the classic Scorpius Rex colors for these two when they do go up on his eBay shop with the first few releases. But you can see again that they are very much so the same size and everything, just very different when it comes to the positioning of the figures. So these brand new Lulu's Customs and Classics Scorpius Rex figures are both awesome. Again, it's the same sculpt, just different paint schemes. Now these paint schemes are taken from or inspired by Jurassic World Evolution, and I do have both of those games, part 1 and 2, and I have yet to ever play them. I buy them because it's Jurassic stuff, but I just never have time to play games, so my son plays them all the time and basically shows me what's going on, but I don't think he actually has the Scorpius Rex. He doesn't play it too often nowadays. It's been a little bit since he's really been playing the game, so I haven't even seen the Scorpius in the game at all. It wasn't until I went on Google and, had Googled some of the images of the Scorpius from that game where I came across the very cool color schemes that they've chosen. And actually, I think I ended up watching a YouTube video showing off all the different skins for the Scorpius, and these were two of the skins that were included there, and he has very nicely applied them to the figures. And I'm really happy to have something like this that is so unique, so different, and just generally, again, very awesome of him to paint these out, custom paint these out for me, which is a very nice thing to do on his part. Again, he's a great friend of mine, so it's always fun to have friends that'll do kind things like that for you. But I think both of the paint jobs here look excellent, very flashy, but somehow natural on the dinosaurs. But of course, the sculpt is what we most needed to look at. But again, you can see the sculpts look very similar to the other one. We have the same type of quills in the back of the head, same type of quills in the back of the tail, same type of texturing and, appearance overall, just a very different pose. So if you want the Scorpius Rex kind of looking more like it's sneaking up on its prey or it's preparing to lunge origin and attack, then these ones might be the way to go. Or if you want the more fierce looking version, of course you have the other version. But one thing is for sure, these Scorpios Rex are great, and they absolutely resemble the Scorpios Rex quite perfectly, in my opinion, from Camp Cretaceous. So if you are interested in grabbing some of these for yourself, when they do go up on his store, make sure you follow his eBay shop. Again, I have included a link in the description to where you can check out his shop. He is currently listing other stuff on there as well, like Jurassic Park toys as well that he has that he's intending on liquidating from his collection. So you might be able to grab yourself some of those on top of, again, these incredible figures. So make sure you follow his eBay shop. And again, grab some of these when they go up for sale, and also like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.